Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. Make sure you go to hometownstation.com for all the latest and greatest in the Santa Clarita Valley. And speaking of the greatest in Santa Clarita, Mercedes-Benz of Valencia and KHTS, we're taking a positive spin on a new feature called Santa Clarita's Unsung Heroes, and it's brought to you by your friends at Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. We're focusing the spotlight on those working behind the scenes who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty and make the impossible a reality. And joining in studio now, we have DaAnne Smith, the Executive Director of Single Mothers Outreach, and appreciate you coming on.
I'm thrilled to be here.
So the description is the working behind the scenes who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty and make the impossible a reality. So you are the unsung hero. How does that make you feel?
I think at least Single Mothers Outreach embodies that whole idea of the impossible and making things happen.
Okay, so I'm Single
excited.
Mothers Outreach is your baby, right?
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that a little bit later. I want to talk about DaAnne Smith, though. So talk to me, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Santa Clarita? Are you a Santa Clarita lifer? Where did you grow up?
I'm a Valley girl.
Oh, okay.
I was born in Van Nuys, grew up till I was 13 in Reseda, and then we moved to West Hills, what later became West Hills, and went to college at CSUN.
Okay.
Met my husband there, and we had our first home in Granada Hills, and then when we had our first child, we moved to Santa Clarita when she was about 15 months old. So we've been here for about 26 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what did you said you went to CSUN. What did you get your degree in?
I didn't.
Oh,
I'm one of those.
Boy.
I am a lifelong learner.
Okay.
I have a hard time sticking with one thing. I enjoy learning. Like I said, I'm a lifelong learner. So I never did get that degree. I have enough credits for a degree, but just never enough in one specific discipline.
Funny. That's funny. And you're just wanting to learn everything you can.
Honestly, I didn't realize that was who I was until I was in my 50s. So when I took the StrengthsFinder assessment that's put out by the Gallup organization, and my number one strength is learner. And I thought, okay, that makes sense to me now, why I'm always flitting from thing to thing, because I enjoy learning. And it's really been put to great use at Single Mothers Outreach.
Did you notice it? Maybe your parents noticed this. Did you notice it as a young age? You just wanted to learn as much, asking questions about everything and all that stuff?
I was always a naturally curious child, and the firstborn of 4, so I kind of had that leadership plus that learning interest. Always been interested in everything. I have new hobbies almost daily. And so one of my other strengths is I collect information. I collect quotes. I collect all kinds of things, and they're all stored up in this brain of mine. I can't remember what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I have these quotes that just come out of me, and I think, where did that come from? It's amazing.
And so, when you were younger, what did you want to be? Did you want to be the executive director of Single Mothers Outreach, or did you want to run a business? What did you want to do when you were a young DaAnne? It wasn't Smith, I assume.
No, I was a Miller.
Oh, DaAnne Miller. What did DaAnne Miller want to do when she grew up?
She wanted to travel.
Okay.
I've always wanted to travel, and I think it goes, again, back to that natural curiosity about the world in which I live. And that came to fruition when I met and married my husband, who also enjoys traveling, and we've been around the world. Although my children can boast that they've been to more countries than I've been.
Great.
They've really taken that sense of adventure to a whole new level.
What's your favorite place? Where's your favorite place in the world?
I would have.
You can't say Santa Clarita.
No,
other than
really,
Santa Clarita.
There's one of the countries that I've traveled to that I've enjoyed the most is Australia. However, my favorite place on this earth is Santa Barbara.
Really? Wow.
We go there all the time.
That's a stone's throw away too.
It
and
is.
That's the best drive in the world, by the way. That 101, it's the best drive in the world.
We've been going there our whole married life. We've been married 31 years now, and his parents have a home there, and our children grew up I mean, that has been our home away from home my whole married life. And so it becomes more and more dear to us. Someday we'll retire there. But I call it my counterbalance, because we work so hard, my husband and I, here in Santa Clarita. But when we go to Santa Barbara, we play. And
Fantastic. Talking with DaAnne Smith. She's the Santa Clarita Unsung Hero, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. Okay, so you graduate, you went to college. Did not graduate. You have credits in everything, but not a degree. But okay, so what happens after that? You said did you get married at CSUN?
No, we got married. I was probably almost 25 when we married. That's a whole other story. We were together. We dated. We broke up. Several years passed. We got back together. We married. So I had already had my career going when we got married, and we had our first home in Reseda. We rented a home in Reseda, and then we bought our first home a few years later. And I was in the banking business, believe it or not. And my learner, again, not really understanding that part of my personality, in the 7 years I worked at that bank, I probably had 4 positions. I kept moving around. I kept.
Because I know a guy who he sits in one job for like 3 months and he's like, man, I'm bored. I got to go do something else. Is that your type of personality?
Exactly. And it would have been very helpful for me to understand that about myself when I was a young person, because I would have looked for that kind of work that would feed.
Not doing the same thing every day.
Right. And that's quite honestly why Single Mothers Outreach has been so fulfilling to me, because I'm learning every stinking day in that job. And it's sometimes I'm hanging on, by a thread in terms of, oh my gosh, I need to understand more about this particular, because we're running a business. I've never run a business before. And so it's been the greatest challenge. But that is my strength. So it's really worked well for me.
Fantastic. Okay, we're talking with DaAnne Smith. She is the executive director of Single Mothers Outreach and also the Santa Clarita Unsung Hero. We're going to finish things up. We're going to wrap. We're going to have a giant, wonderful unsung hero bow on this. We're going to we got a little bit more time, but we're going to take a quick break and we're going to talk more with you about. So we're at the college / just got married, just had a baby phase. And we're going to continue that coming up next, okay? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. All right. More with DaAnne Smith on AM-1220 KHTS. Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It is 9:20 on your hometown station. We're talking with DaAnne Smith. She is the executive director over at the Single Mothers Outreach and also the Mercedes-Benz of Valencia, Santa Clarita Unsung Hero as well. So we welcome you. And this is the second part of our conversation for those of you just tuning in. But we were just, I wanted to ask you about, you just had, in the lifeline that we are posing here, you just got married and you had your first kid. And so what happens after that? You are a learner, and then what happens after that? You have your first kid.
We moved to the Santa Clarita Valley because we had heard that the schools are really good. And so we, like so many others that ended up here, moved because of the schools and never regretted that. We actually moved here 1 month before we became a city. So we've never known Santa Clarita not as a city. And so we shortly after became pregnant with our second child, and I was working part-time until she was born, and then I quit my job forever. I was a stay-at-home mom, proud to be, and very fortunate to be a stay-at-home parent. Went back to work when Shireen was 16. So. And
we talked during the break, and you said you volunteered a lot during that time?
I was very involved with Mom's Club.
Okay.
It had just started in Santa Clarita. At that time, it was at one club. Now there are many, many, many clubs around the valley. But at the time I joined it, it had just formed, and I was the second president.
What is Mom's Club? I don't know what that is.
It's an organization for stay-at-home moms to connect with other moms, and there's play groups and things so that the children form friendships, and it was a wonderful experience.
Cool.
We had guest speakers that came and talked on parenting topics and things like that.
And okay, so you're a mom for 16 years? Wait, no, longer than that.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a mom longer than that. But when I'm stay-at-home mom, you were for quite some time, and but throughout your life, you've been a learner. You've been wanting to grab stuff. So what did you do? Because you said, sometimes you got bored. You were at a bank for 7 years. You had 4 different jobs at that bank. So what were you doing to fulfill that?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, ask any parent. You're constantly on a learning curve. And so I was always reading books about how to be the best parent I could be. I actually homeschooled for a year and a half. We had an issue with our youngest, and her self-esteem was really suffering as a result. And so I pulled both my children out when they were going into 5th and 7th grade and homeschooled them for a year and a half. It was probably one of the richest experiences I ever did. I was kind of a maverick homeschooler. I didn't really, I kind of did my own thing with them based on the works of Charlotte Mason. She was an educator, a British educator around the turn of the last century, and just loved her philosophy of education and really put that into use in my school environment. So one of the highlights, I think, we had read John Muir's A 1,000-Mile Walk to the Gulf, and we went and recreated that journey and saw the things that he wrote about. And so it was a natural. It was part geography and then part natural botany and all of that stuff, because he was a naturalist. And so we went all the way through down into Kentucky, Tennessee, across Georgia, into South Carolina and Florida, and we journaled. We went to some beautiful, beautiful places. It was just a really fun thing, and it really made that book come alive to my children.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. That's a cool thing.
Well, and here's the most important thing about that. I wanted to instill in my children a lifelong love of learning. Okay. Because for whatever reason, school had started to become a drag for them. And again, it kind of goes back to this theme of being a learner. We live in an amazing world, and we should be engaged in it and learning all we can about it. It's quite remarkable. So in that sense, I was very successful. My girls are continuing. They're very much at home in the world and intrigued by it and are learning. My oldest daughter owns and runs her own business in Scotland.
Wow.
And my baby is in Massachusetts working with the mentally ill on a working farm. And so she's learning farm life and doing therapeutic services and thinking about going back to become a social worker.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, so how did you get involved with Single Mothers Outreach?
I joined the board of directors after a fundraising event. Actually, there was a luncheon, and the then executive director and founder made a call from the podium that they were looking for people to join the board. And I had been going to these fundraising events for Single Mothers Outreach for a couple of years by then, and I thought I've had a heart tug for single moms ever since I had my own children, because my mother-in-law grew up in a single-parent home during the Depression, and we're very, very close. And we would go out to lunch, and I'd ask her about what it was like growing up. And the stories she told were just, how did your mother do it? And she had no support system, no friends, because the women all viewed her with suspicion because she left her husband.
Yeah.
You just didn't do that in the
1930s and 40s.
In the early 30s,
No way.
So she was so isolated, and my mother-in-law has such a strength of character that really directly results from her mother's strength and what she did to take care of her family. So when I had my children, I thought, how does anyone do this alone? How does anyone? We were never meant to parent alone. And so my calling became, if I can help, I should. And so that's where. So I joined the board of directors. In 2006, we were living fundraiser to fundraiser like many, many nonprofits, but we were we were in financial crisis, and it culminated in 2007 when we had to make the very difficult decision. We either fold it or we fight to save it, but it meant laying off all the staff, getting out of our rent and everything. And we ultimately decided to try to fight and save it. And then the County of Los Angeles opened its arms to us and said, hey, you guys, you're too important an agency to go away. Come on over here, rent-free, until you can get back on your feet and on your way. And so that was how we restarted.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna. Can I keep you for one more second?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? Okay.
Sure.
So we're gonna take a quick break. We got some bills to pay, and we're gonna finish things up with DaAnne Smith. She is the executive director of Single Mothers Outreach. SingleMothersOutreach.org. By the way, I haven't mentioned that. We should probably mention that. SingleMothersOutreach.org for more information on Single Mothers Outreach. But she is also the Mercedes-Benz of Valencia, Santa Clarita Unsung Hero, and we'll finish things up with her right after this. AM-1220 KHTS 932 on your hometown station. We're talking with DaAnne Smith, who is the executive director of Single Mothers Outreach. SingleMothersOutreach.org for more information. And she's our Mercedes-Benz of Valencia, Santa Clarita Unsung Hero. You can find more information on all of these Santa Clarita Unsung Heroes at hometownstation.com. So, DaAnne, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, by the way.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So, congrats again on being the
Thank
Santa
you.
Clarita Unsung Hero, and we appreciate all that you do. And so we were talking about how you first got involved with Single Mothers Outreach, and you have I don't know how to say it. You can feel for those single mothers that you're working with because of your mother-in-law,
Right.
and what was different about this though? Because I assume you knew of other nonprofits in the Valley.
Right.
What was different about Single Mothers Outreach that just grabbed at your heartstrings? Was it the fact that your relationship with your mother-in-law, or what was it?
Partly that. I think I think really the driving force behind this nonprofit as opposed to other things is I feel like, and I really believe that parenting is too important a responsibility to bear alone, and yet so many do that every day, whether you're a single dad or a single mom. And there are so many wonderful programs in Santa Clarita that serve their children. But my thesis is if you take care of the parent, if you help the parent, you help the children.
Trickle down, yeah.
It's because a healthy parent is a good parent. And so nobody really was focusing on that. And so that became my mission and our mission. And ultimately as I mentioned offline, my magnum opus. This is my great work. This is my thing to give to my community and hopefully to my nation. We have a big heart to help single parents, not just in Santa Clarita, but beyond Santa Clarita.
Awesome. And so your family, I was asked you this before. What you've done a lot in the community, but what are you most proud of?
With my family?
With your family. What are you
My
most proud of?
family, I think my children are my friends, and we have so much fun together. Yesterday because they my oldest lives in Scotland, and my youngest lives in Western Massachusetts. Neither of my children are close to me. And yesterday we were on Google Hangouts. And all of them, my oldest daughter's married to a wonderful man. And so there I was talking literally around the world with my family and all together. And we just had so much fun. And that pretty much marks our family life. Whenever we get together, we have a wonderful time together. And this last Christmas, it was just kind of, I think, underscores how tight-knit we are. We decided not to give each other gifts last Christmas. We gave each other the gift of time and experiences. We went to Newhall Refinery with a bunch of people, neighbors and their friends and our friends, and we just hung out at Newhall Refinery and just had a great time. We went to Santa Barbara, which is our our family
go-to
favorite place. Yeah, it's our go-to place. And we went out to eat, and we just really enjoyed one another's company. We went to Thai massage because my oldest daughter is a massage therapist, so she's really into health and those kinds of things. And so we we went to Thai massage together. And so we had a wonderful time. I can't, I think that was the best gift we could have given. And then it culminated, okay, one of my daughters, both daughters, favorite thing to do, they love going to Lush. They love Lush. They love the products. They love what it stands for. And so the day after Christmas, we went over to Lush, and I bought a 2-for-1, a big old box full of products. And they were like little girls just pulling out the things that they wanted. And I said, you just take whatever you want that you can pack, and then I will keep the rest and give to
funny.
Use or or give away. So we really enjoy one another's company and try to make experiences so that we laugh, we talk about what we did.
Not going to remember the presents you give each other, really,
right.
but certainly the experiences are
Absolutely.
certainly going to do it. Talking with DaAnne Smith, she is our Santa Clarita Unsung hero, courtesy of Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. And so Singles Mothers Outreach here in the community, singlemothersOutreach.org, singlemothersoutreach.org, or 288-0117. Is that the right number?
That's
okay,
correct.
That's the number I have in front of me. Okay, good. So you guys have some stuff coming up. I know you guys have one fundraiser so far, but you guys have a cool thing on Main Street, right?
Yeah, I
It's
would love
new.
to talk about Closet on Main because we are coming on a year of being open, and it's been phenomenally successful and we are the little nonprofit that could, like the little engine that could, but we're the little nonprofit that could. It has been a challenge. We basically had financial troubles before the Great Recession hit. So it has been a challenge to raise money, needless to say. So Closet on Main we always have too many clothes. We give away clothes to our families, and we've always had more clothes than we had families to give them to. And so this was our solution to help raise money, but also still be able to continue to serve our families. So now our families get to shop at Closet on Main free. Once a month, we have a private event where they take away 8 pieces of clothing per family member per month. And the rest of the month, we're selling it to the general public. And it's been hugely successful for us. It has made an absolute difference in our cash flow. And I cannot thank Margot Hudson and her team enough for what they have, for the atmosphere. I mean, it just like at our office, Closet on Main is a healing place for our parents that shop there or work there, for the volunteers that she has there, for the customers that come in. We are helping women see their beauty on the inside and out, and helping them be the best that they can be. And it is just a wonderful addition to our community. And I love the fact that we have the who's who of Santa Clarita shopping there, as well as the mom pushing a stroller who can barely rub 2 nickels together. And it's just a great convergence of culture, of socioeconomic backgrounds, and whatnot. And I think it's just I'm very, very proud of that place.
Fantastic. Well, DaAnne, thank you so much for all you do in the community, and we appreciate it. And you are certainly an unsung hero.
Thank you.
So, we'll let you get back to work. I know you're a busy person, right?
Yes, yeah. I have bills to pay too.
Yeah, so there you go. Well, thank you again for coming on. We do appreciate it, and we wish success, continued success for Single Mothers Outreach.
Thank you, and I'm honored and flattered and humbled by this honor, and I thank KHTS and Mercedes-Benz for this opportunity.
Excellent.